What a fun player to play
Yes,
against.
I played a lot of mix with him, and we put an MLP together.
Oh my gosh, he's so
just
awesome.
A fun guy, super great lefty, and I think that, you know, always interesting you're adding the lefty element because it's going to change Hunter Johnson's targets a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be a big issue.
Hunter Johnson with the outfit change as well.
Yeah, he was all green.
He was all green. Now he's going into that
blue.
Light blue.
I mean, that ball just kicked off that paddle. I feel like, you know, been here all morning, and the one thing I actually noticed is Hunter's serve is the only serve that I could hear the ball coming up. Like, I could hear the wind whistling off. Out of everybody we've seen here on these courts, that's the one where you're hearing it every single time. That ball just flies off a lot quicker than it seems.
And there's another forehand winner for Hunter. So he's got those backhands that he's crushing, forehands. Playing with confidence, that's for sure.
I mean, that would have been the difficulty on that redirection with a deep return to Hunter's backhand and then dropping it cross court. That's a tough shot. Not definitely a shot that he can make. And again, the service rule adjustment, you see Tellez, he's coming up a little higher, his contact's a little bit more. So, you know, I think some players are trying to take advantage of getting us to have a little bit more height on the serve now without it being below the waist, whereas others are actually kind of still sticking to it. And this has been the common factor on this court is the divider net.
Yeah, when I walked over there and looked at it, so like there's already a short net behind it, and then they add this the Pickleball Central net divider, and it's coming off about another 5 or 6 inches. So it's kind of taking that short net, making it even shorter.
Yeah.
And the way these guys play, you know, that little touch where you're like, you know, going in your backswing, hitting it, touching it, even if it doesn't affect it fully, that little bit can...
It could be in your head. It's
for sure.
It's definitely a difference from this side of the court to that side of the court. And like we've said, PPA does a fantastic job coming into these facilities and making it a great spot with the... This is normally a tennis court that is converted for this event into pickleball courts.
I think the biggest thing is when you're on that side, like you mentioned a second ago, keeping your head, even when it's like a little bit there, and you're just keep your head so you're not frustrated with all that stuff.
Because it's going to happen. You can feel the wind, the breeze is shifting. It's you're going to have these elements. That's just the reality. Everyone's got the elements. So there's these little things that could affect. We've had some missed returns and serves, but that's okay. Not as many missed serves, though, actually, come to think of it. Just a couple in the last few matches.
A bunch of returns have been going.
Yeah.
Yeah, already seen a couple here. So we'll have to pay attention to that.
2-2. And just solid return, pulling, because Pablo's looking for that forehand. He's already leaning to the right side of the court, expecting him to move around that backhand. And I think it's a smart play. Often people want to avoid a shot, but give it to him. I'm not gonna lie, that was the weirdest sound. Did you hear that sound off that pad?
Yeah, I think that I couldn't tell if he just mishit it. I'm not quite sure, but it sounded like it broke the pad.
Yeah, it was.
3-2.
So you got to think how important it is for Hunter. He's going to want to win the game on the tough side with that spacing.
Yes.
You see he's a little frustrated because that space. Pablo's really, that's a high ball. He's trying to put a lot of pressure on that serve to pin him back. But, that's the shot that Hunter's going to come up with, which isn't terrible.
In men's singles, when the person stays back and you're able to hit a great entry ball and come in, crash the net, you usually feel pretty good.
Yep.
But when he's hitting balls like that, it's tough. So there's that same thing I was telling you a little bit earlier. He left that ball just a little bit over the net, higher than the net, and it's easy for Pablo to come down on it. Pablo has good wingspan.
Yep. That's a little bit of that. We know Hunter's usually has a little bit bigger of a backswing, and you see he's trying to shorten it, so it's uncomfortable. He's trying to adjust for that space, and probably not hitting the best balls he can off some of these returns with how much pressure Pablo's putting on with that serve. But it's almost like he's kind of hanging back and like, I just want to get to that side.
Yeah. Hunter frustrated, maybe taking a timeout here?
Maybe, like a towel break.
Yeah, trying to figure out.
At least taking a little bit of time, because it's Pablo's putting a lot of pressure on those shots, trying to just pin him back.
No timeout, but definitely a towel break.
Yeah. If you're like, Pablo's throwing his body on top of that ball. It's a very energetic serve.
Yes, he's landing it deep too, and deep without this. Like he's even waiting for Fed to return the ball. Look at that, Fed's having trouble over there against the net. Hunter's having a little bit of trouble here against the net. We'll see how much that plays a difference. Obviously, there's a good side.
That's another misreturn. That's when Hunter, that's the most frustrated we've seen him today.
Sure.
See, he's so jammed on those returns. But sometimes it is just make him hit another ball.
Yep.
and maybe that's kind of what he's got to do right now. You know, it's kind of deal with the side, grind it out until you're able to get the other side. There we go, and there's that good tempo that we're talking about from Hunter, that just holding the paddle a little bit longer is going to make that first volley from Pablo a very tough shot.
This is where Hunter needs to take a little bit of advantage. Yep.
I love that Hunter pulled him out wide on that return, forcing Pablo to take a backhand, not allowing him to move around and take it as a forehand, and that opened up that forehand side of the court.
I'll tell you what, I have like nightmares right now, and I haven't gone to sleep
you're just
about that exact play. That happened to me so many times.
No. And I think that, I like that he's going for that. I think that's something Hunter does really well. He kind of looks like he's sitting back and taking some drops, and then just accelerates in and takes one in the air and counterattacks.
Wow.
That's fantastic hands from Pablo.
Yeah. So I actually really like that ball from Hunter. I mean, it's one great play trumped by another great play, right? Like, it's all it was. Wow.
And talking about a ball, I mean, Hunter lifted that fairly high, but he almost kind of, you wonder, was that a bait ball a little bit, that he was forcing him to try to hit that so that he was ready to counterattack that backhand. And there's that forehand passing shot again. He's just starting to dial it in a little bit better now.
Big deep serve, hard, a little bit of a bounce, a kick up there. You saw Pablo have to try to make that readjustment.
And now we're at 7-8, different game. And then as he's striking that ball, calling a timeout, he's knowing it's time to do it, 2 missed returns.
Yep.
And couple of missed hits there, but it worked out. I think on both sides, I think 3 solid miss hits for everybody. Again, Hunter's hit that corner, almost that same spot quite a few times. Just that tight angle there.
Absolutely. Pablo's doing really well covering that forehand side.
When you hear Hunter saying that he gets it every time, he's got that coverage. Still no damage after this timeout. Still a steady 8-8.
It's really anyone's game at this point.
I'm kind of surprised at that, because what we've seen Hunter do throughout the day is kind of hit a couple hard balls, but then go for that softer passing shot. But he kept wanting to stay in that with Pablo.
Yeah, Pablo with great hands too there.
It's a great adjustment from Hunter, kind of not letting that ball come up, really wanting to make sure that Pablo couldn't get a high point of contact. Still 8-8, they're holding strong, but Hunter went for a different shot that time at least.
Yeah. Great play by Pablo.
It's a big point. You know, it's 8-8. It's staying on there for a while and getting off that. That's huge, huge momentum.
Pablo's been going down that forehand side and then pulls it back on that one to the backhand side on that volley.
Great coverage from Pablo. Just trying to make him hit another ball. And that's, I think, something Hunter does really well. In those long points, a lot of times players overhit or they do too much when they have that put away, but he stayed in control and just hit the shot that was not going to come back. You know, he's making that adjustment, trying to go to Pablo's backhand now, but that hasn't been Hunter's pattern all day, so he's got to kind of dial that in now.
Exactly. Hunter again frustrated immediately after he hit that return.
Yeah. And it was a great ball that he hit too, still. And Pablo just came up with this shot, amazing. And
time in. Game point. 10-8.
I mean, just huge on that. He's knowing that he's gonna. And we are back here, Bristol, Tennessee, PPA Tour Singles Day. Men's singles is what we've been seeing on Grandstand Court this morning. I'm Sarah Ansberry. I've got Danny Jensen in the booth with me. Hunter Johnson down 1 game to Pablo Tellez. I mean, there's that lefty thing, because Hunter's smart shot, throwing up a lob, because that's all he's got, but Pablo's the lefty right here, and if we looked at our duper predictions, Hunter kind of squeaks out just a little bit on the edge here. But it is tough coming out of that first game. He's got the room, now he's got the space.
Yep. Pablo is serving absolutely huge.
Huge. I mean, it's high. I mean, it's
yeah.
He's getting a lot of leverage on that ball. It's tricky. great ball reading. I really like that Hunter was letting some of those balls bounce.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
again, just changing the tempo on Pablo. There's that big serve from Hunter Johnson getting him on the board.
Yeah, I think that this serve from this side is going to be so key because you can already see Pablo's butt is right up against that. You know, it's tough.
I mean, that's a great pickup. I mean, he's below the net, still keeping that ball down nice and solid. He has feet already in the ground. And that's a shot that was very effective against Dylan Frazier earlier today.
It's on my mouth. There you go. How's it?
That might be better.
I'm touching my lips now.
Here you go.
Mic issue here. Sorry about that, guys.
And like here, it's a lot of frustration coming out of him. I don't think it's worth it to be that frustrated right now because, you know, we've seen him play fantastic today. You've seen him personally play fantastic today. And that is tough because he had the play. He had his paddle up and ready for it and let it go.
Yeah, it's lands right on that line.
4-1. Side out.
Pablo.
Side out.
So 4-1 Pablo. Yeah, right now is time to take what you can, get those points.
I mean, he's just pummeling that backhand of Pablo Tellez, which is what he's got to do. It's working. Pablo really wants to move around and hit that as a forehand. So he knows the spots. It's just that execution.
Yep.
I mean, fantastic get from both of them. Got the coverage for the ATP and just misses it.
It was so close. Had such a good view there, but
No.
just misses by just a hair.
And we do have a court review that the referee, if they challenge the call, they can come over and check the screens.
Side out.
There's that off-speed ball that's been working. And that,
You know, Pablo wants that one up
Yeah.
into his forehand, and Hunter's not going to give that to him.
1-4. Point.
and now you're seeing a little bit of fire out of him, and which is what he needs to do. Is I think it's been more of his own worst enemy than anything else so far.
2-4.
¡Hey!
Side out.
¡Vamos! ¡Vamos!
And Pablo gets it back at 4-2. And just that momentum is so high right now. But also remembering if they do go to game 3, Hunter does get to finish on this side, which would be a benefit.
4-2.
Just great movement and coverage on the court. Got a couple of let cords that could have gone either way. But those are the shots that Hunter's got to kind of keep putting together. Just keep going after the ball like he usually does. I mean, so much pressure on that return at such a small portion of the court.
Yeah, right here, I want to see Hunter go really big on this.
I do, exactly.
Put some pressure.
And it's just pure frustration, which is like, it's hard from seeing how he's been playing today, doing well, executing those shots.
Don't count him out.
Yeah, absolutely
Don't
not.
count him out.
No, absolutely. And we got Yates is on the sidelines now, which I think is probably good to have a little bit more support on the sidelines if Hunter needs to come out on a timeout.
Absolutely.
It's a huge return just from him. That's what he's got to keep doing. And those are the shots that we've been seeing all morning. Smooth, controlled, just execution. And that's another one that's greatly needed a point from Hunter.
No, come on.
Side out.
Pablo taking a second just to hopefully slow down this momentum just a little bit.
Yeah. 4-4.
That's great coverage from both players, getting a kind of a net cord and still coming around that. And that's the kind of the momentum that Hunter's got to keep going on. I think you've got a very fiery player in Pablo Tellez, and you do have to break that momentum a little bit with him.
Side out.
And like we talked about before, these courts are pretty gritty.
Yeah.
So some of these are going to be a little bit mistimed.
4-4.
Hey!
Point.
Dale!
That's it. There we go.
8-4.
And solid ball. And I gotta say, I'm happy about the verbal warnings and those things, because I gotta say, we were watching the juniors last week, and there's a lot of chaos with those kids,
Oh my
and it's and so, you know, they're watching these matches, and this is where the examples are set. And we were practicing next to girls 12s match, and they had to have a referee come over, I mean, twice. And they were, you know, so having the refs make some calls on that is huge. Again, Pablo taking a little bit more time with the towel to break some of this momentum.
6-8. Side out.
It's there. He's hitting a good ball.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, he hits that low ball so well, so often, and it's a small margin over the net, so he's going to miss it every so often, but it's worth it. It's worth the risks.
8-6. Point.
Again, I think the biggest issue here is confidence on the court, just feeling frustrated and not being able to execute right now.
I don't think it helps that Pablo's hitting such great shots.
I
either.
mean,
when you're frustrated and then your opponent is hitting a winner like that down your backhand line, that doesn't.
he's not been,
feel good.
Pablo's not been as affected with that side.
Match point. Time in. 10-6.
And we came right back in on that serve for match point. Pablo Tellez coming in at 11-8, 11-6. A great win against Hunter Johnson. That